There comes a point in your life when you know you've got to change it completely. So I took a chance and sold and gave away everything that I owned to experience a different kind of life, living out on the canals and rivers of the UK. And I'd like you to come along and experience it with me every step of the way. Morning YouTubers, hope you're all well. Glad you've come back to keep me company. This is where we are, working our way slowly up the Grand Union towards the Midlands. Our starting point today is just outside Cosgrove. We're going to work our way up to Yardley Gobion, perhaps stay there for a couple of days, and try and end up just outside Stoke Bruerne. I say try and end up because you never know if you're going to be able to get a mooring. The boat over there on that private mooring looks like he's sorted for his next winter's fuel, with that tree coming down right next to his boat. The old weather's not too clever today. It's a bit, how would you say, bleak? Let me rephrase that, because I do like to be myself on this channel. The weather has been a bit crap. I think a chance of a job with the BBC's out of the question after that. Just the other side of the bridge there's a pub called the Navigation Inn, and it's got some strange looking pods in the beer garden. In my way of thinking, you might as well sit inside the pub where there's a bit of atmosphere rather than sit in one of them. But then again, what do I know? We're going through the county of Northamptonshire, and what I've seen of it so far is just field after field with the odd farmhouse. I would imagine it's idyllic in the summer months when everything's in bloom, especially for those of us that like a bit of peace and quiet. You have to make sure that your cupboards are stocked up when you come out to areas like this, because there's hardly anywhere to buy food. And if you do manage to find somewhere, the prices are usually sky high. We're going along a stretch of the canal that hasn't got any locks for quite a while. I think the next locks is the 7 at Stoke Bruerne. But we'll save them and the Blissworth Tunnel, which is the 3rd longest tunnel in the country, until the next vlog. So that should be interesting. We've got Yardley Gobion coming up soon, which is a strange sounding name, which goes back to the year 1228, when a landowner named Henry Gobion owned the land around here. And Yardley in Old English means a fenced meadow. So it could have been called Gobion's Yardley. This is a lovely looking old farmhouse just the other side of the canal. Gorgeous place to live. Kingfisher Marina's right here, and I'm going to be looking for mooring opposite. Time for a look around this place. This is the other side of that farmhouse that you could see from the canal. Wonderful place. Looks like lambing season. I'm walking up into the village, and as I said before, the name of this village originates from the year 1228. It looks like most of the houses are built from the local stone and have got thatched roofs, and they look very quaint. Not so sure about this one right in front of us though. Looks like that building in Only Fools and Horses where they stayed in Margate. I think it's Belladonna. Looks a bit scary to me, that one. They used to put cats and other animals on the roof of these thatched houses to scare away witches and mice, but now I think it's just decoration. Lovely. If you own a house with a thatched roof, you've got to be prepared to be shelling out a few bob every 30 or so years to have it rethatched. I always like to show the old churches in these villages because mainly they was the hub of the community back in the day. Them and the local pub, or inn as they used to say. St Leonard's Church was built in 1864 by the Duke of Grafton. Well, he didn't build it himself, he paid for it I suppose, using the local limestone. There's not a lot of light in here at the moment, so I hope you're getting these pictures. There's some lovely coloured glass windows at each end of this church. It's always so peaceful in these places. This is the back of the church, and it sounds like all the birds are out singing because spring's coming. The pub in the village is called the Coffee Pot, and it was built in the 1700s as an inn for the stagecoaches that came through. Here's another example of animals built into the thatch. Lovely. My daughter Claire's come back to help out and keep us all company on this little trip to Stoke Bruerne. Just having a last look around Yardley Gobion, because I might not see it again. And off we go on another little adventure. Luckily, the weather's bucked up a bit today. It's not perfect, but it's much better than it has been. couple of days that I've been moored in Yardley Gobion, I've seen snow, I've seen high winds, I've seen torrential rain. So let's hope it holds out for a bit. There seems to be a lot more boat movement than I've seen for a while. And I put that down to we've got the Easter holidays coming up. When I first looked up here, I thought it was a castle in the distance. But after a bit of research, I found out it's the village of Grafton Regis, and it's a church called St Mary the Virgin, which is nearly 1,000 years old. This seems to be a bit of a feature of this part of the canal. They've got a lot of these little arched overspills. I've been getting a little bit spoilt on this trip. Claire's been doing most of the steering and handling the boat. She's trying to look like a professional boater here, but what you can't see is I'm making funny faces at the other side of the camera, trying to make her laugh. But then again, I don't have to try too hard nowadays to make funny faces. This will give you a bit of an idea of the speed that I go when I'm going past moored boats. I'm not trying to make you think that I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoes, but I do like to show a bit of consideration for other boaters.
Ready to enjoy?
Makes a nice change for me when somebody else is driving the boat. Would you say driving the boat or sailing the boat? You'll have to let me know. Yeah, it gives me a chance to have a good look around and take everything in. I reckon them lambs hiding behind a tree are saying, Aitch is a funny name for a narrowboat. If you look to the right, there's a couple walking down the towpath that called out and said that they watched the channel. I didn't have a chance to get your names, but you know who you are. Thanks for watching.
Probably on this one.
It always amazes me when people say they enjoy watching my channel, because I think sometimes they must be gluttons for punishment. I do love looking at some of these old bridges, got so much character. There's two boats coming up here now that I think do a good job. LNBP Community Boating. It's a charity that was formed in 1981 which gives children from the inner cities a chance to experience what it's like out here on the canals and in the countryside. I had a similar experience when I was a child, which I think must have pointed me towards this lifestyle. So good on them. beautiful. Looks like they're all taking a well-earned break away from the water. Sounds like he's telling me off about something. Claire seems to be getting better and better at steering the boat as she gets more experience and confidence. We're not too far from the village of Stoke Bruerne now, so it's time to keep our eyes open to see if we can find a decent mooring. As we've never been here before, and we don't know what the mooring situation is, we have to play it by ear. Here's another one of them overspills. Looks like it was built in 1933. There's something a bit different about this one, which I'm hoping that someone with a bit of local knowledge can enlighten us all. There's water being pumped into the canal here, but we're at the bottom of 7 locks. It usually gets pumped into the top, so I don't know what that is. We've reached the outskirts of Stoke Bruerne now, so we're going to moor up right here. The sign says they're 2-day moorings and £25 a day extra if you want to stay there longer. And I did want to stay here longer because, as you'll see in the next episode, Stoke Bruerne is a beautiful place with a lot going on. I really enjoyed this little trip, as I always do when I've got Claire tagging along with me. And of course I can't forget all yous that come along and keep me company as well. I'd like to thank Cleet Hudgins, Babs, Harmony, Sally Burton and Bombardier GSAD for buying me a coffee. Really appreciate that. And also a special thanks to Scrappy, who's become my first member on the Buy Me a Coffee app. So thank you, Scrappy. I've got 2 extra videos a month coming out. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you next time.